Say it, bitch.
That's how you start a Wednesday morning on the Bernie and Sid show here on 77 WABC. Some Def Leppard, Rock of Ages. In fact, give us some more of this. Go ahead, Craig. Come on. Woo. Big show coming your way today. The former king of late night television, and he was, rating-wise, for a long time, Jay Leno. Stopping by the Bernie.
Really?
Yes.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno going to be here next hour.
The real Jay Leno.
The real Jay Leno.
That's fantastic.
As we continue to provide this audience with great guests. Better guests than I even thought we'd have, to be honest.
A-list guests.
Yeah. And, of course, we're going to cover everything out there and the whole presidential transition and LeBron James and all. We've got a whole bunch of stuff today. It's going to be a very, very exciting program.
Do you know what today is?
Wednesday.
It's Trump Day.
Yeah. Trump Day. Yeah, it's good.
So corny with the Trump stuff.
It's funny.
Very good. You know, Trump meets with the Japanese Prime Minister today. His first foreign head of state.
How about that?
He's starting to
what?
The whole presidential thing is really kicking.
He spoke to the Chinese guy yesterday too, right?
He spoke to the various people on the phone.
Yeah, the president.
They're all calling to congratulations. We want to work with you. And it's just sort of like when Ronald Reagan came in and replaced the weak, feckless, not respected Jimmy Carter. People now are like, oh, my God, we got to deal with this guy. We got to deal with a strong leader, a tough guy. And they're all bowing down. So he's going to meet with Shinzo Abe today. That's the Japanese Prime Minister.
Yes.
And he's going to read him the riot act. You guys got to pay up, man. We're sworn to defend you. You guys are making some yen over there, yo.
Some serious
You're making yen, yo.
Damn right.
You got to cough some of that up. And no funny business either. We haven't forgotten of what happened, back in the day there either.
You still owe us for the ships?
Don't make us go back into that cabinet again.
You know, the Arizona is still bubbling oil coming up.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there, by the way, Pearl Harbor?
No, but I saw the movie. And Ben Affleck, very, very good. In fact, I saw, what's his name, was the cook on the guy who said, give me the money in Jerry Maguire. Who's
Show me the money.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah. He was in Pearl Harbor?
He was in Pearl Harbor. Kate Beckinsale, very good film. The one that I think
listen.
What? That's my history lesson.
Disrespectful. You're being disrespectful.
In what respect?
Now, wait a minute now. You're being disrespectful. Now, wait a minute.
Just a little bit. No, I've never been to Pearl Harbor. I've been to Hawaii, but I've never been to Pearl Harbor.
Sacred, vaunted ground. It'd be like saying, have you been to the 9/11 site or whatever the hell?
I saw United Flight 93, the movie. Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
right.
So last night, and by the way, Ted Cruz stopped by to pay homage to Donald Trump.
Should he? They should put him on the Supreme Court. That's what Lindsey Graham has been saying.
You talk about eating crow and swallowing.
L-Y-I-N apostrophe. Lion Ted, the Bible held high. He puts it down and then he lies.
You talk about swallowing your pride and your dignity, and you come crawling. Remember Mr. Potter in the It's a Wonderful Life? Oh, you come crawling for a job, and you were going to take me out.
Excellent reference. And considering, too, that I've walked by about 1,000 places today putting up their holiday decorations with Thanksgiving right around the corner. It's a wonderful life. Great reference.
Actually, yes. It's a week from today is Thanksgiving Eve, one of the happiest days, in my opinion, of the year.
Yeah. When I was a kid, not that many years ago, many years ago, actually, before I was married to Danielle, that was one of my craziest nights of the year. In fact, I would tell you that the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, I may have had longer nights than New Year's Eve.
That is the biggest party night of the year.
It is, right? It was a license to kill.
It really is. I mean, that's factual. More people, all the kids come home from college. Everybody. It's the beginning of the holiday season.
Right.
And it's just the time to go nuts. And, of course,
on Thursday, all you do is sit around and eat and watch football. A 4-day weekend. But sit around, eat, and watch football and don't do anything,
That's
basically.
Right. If you can get up early enough to watch the football after the Wednesday night festivities. But, so a week from today, Thanksgiving Eve, which is fantastic, talking about the Christmas decorations. Now, last night, Mr. Trump was celebrating. Apparently, around 6:30, his press spokesperson is Hope Hicks.
We know Hope.
Hope Keep hope alive.
Yep.
Well, hope didn't help us too much.
No.
But whatever. That's okay.
It was because of me. It's not because of you. She lost. It was because of me.
Listen, I know Mr. Trump and his family listens. All the love and congratulations. And I understand. We understand why you didn't come on. It's all good.
Fine.
So anyway, she at 6:30 tells the press, hey, the Trump people, Mr. Trump, they're all, quote unquote, bedding down for the night. So you can all leave now. And about an hour later, he goes out. He leaves the building and he heads over to the 21 Club for a meal. And he got a standing ovation as he entered, a standing ovation as he left in this bastion of liberalism here, or communism actually in Manhattan. And the press is whining. He didn't let us know. He didn't tell us. Is this the way it's going to be?
Well, it's not supposed to be that way.
I know.
So,
I know.
I mean, it is not supposed to be that way.
And the press weren't supposed to be the way they were.
Well,
covering
that's fine.
The campaign.
But two wrongs don't make a right. You don't want to.
I think they do.
Fair enough, then.
One
That's
equals
fine.
the other.
That's fine.
But that was yesterday. So Trump's sticking it to him. You got to love that. And Steve Bannon.
Still getting killed for that Steve Bannon pick. Everywhere getting killed.
CNN is just,
Forget about CNN.
They had Glenn Beck on last night.
Glenn Beck, they're talking about the alt-right. And what about Harry Reid? I mean, everybody.
Listen, Glenn Beck, the backstory with Glenn Beck is that he had his website, his organization called The Blaze. They got obliterated. It's basically not in existence anymore.
Which sucks, because I happen to like Tommy Lauren.
And she was fantastic.
I love her.
She's the star. She's going to do
She'll be
just
okay.
fine. Megyn Kelly should be looking over her shoulder.
I would have thought that would have happened 2 years ago.
Because
but you're right.
Tommy Lauren, that chick is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That young lady, excuse me.
What's his name was there?
But the point is,
J7 was there too, I think.
The point is this. Yeah. The point is that Glenn Beck, first of all, he was deranged anti-Trump, but the Breitbart people just slaughtered him through the whole thing. And he was humiliated through the whole Trump campaign. Remember, he showed up at one rally, and the crowd, he was standing somewhere. Trump walked into a building where he was giving a little speech, and the crowd just ran away. And Breitbart just humiliated him left, right, and center constantly. So he has an axe to grind when he's talking about Steve Bannon and Breitbart, and he's not to be listened to. He's wrong every step of the way.
Well,
so the hell with him.
He went above and beyond that. He actually, I believe, twice, not once, but twice, got suspended for even floating the idea of a Trump assassination. Did he not do that, Glenn Beck? Stab him with a knife and...
he said some wacky thing. The guy is a certified screwball.
He looks nuts.
He's a legitimate psycho is what he is. And he should be people should be watching.
I used to love him, though. He used to be one of my... I'm going to be honest. He used to be one of my favorites. I don't know exactly when he went completely bonkers, but not that long ago, I liked Glenn Beck.
He was okay. I always thought he was a little too much with the religious stuff.
Well, that's fine.
Of people flocking down to Washington, D.C. to listen to him speak like he was some kind of messiah. I always was wary of all of that stuff. And, I think I've been validated. I hate to say it.
I guess you nailed it.
I didn't want to lead up to that, but and also
I was entertained though early on in the Trump candidacy. Now, of course, he's won the whole thing. The on-air fight between Beck and Hannity. I thought that was actually pretty decent stuff.
That was great. That was fantastic.
Good.
And then they had their own rapprochement,
right? Which
was then severed the relationship over the Trump Cruz thing, and then of course the Never Trump thing. So Hannity and Glenn Beck back on the outs, and Glenn Beck appearing in such hostile locales as CNN, as they welcome a guy like him because an insider from the right who's going to trash the right. So they get Anderson Cooper treated him like I don't know, like he was like he was courting him for God's sake. They had him on for 3 segments last night. And, all of a sudden Glenn Beck has a lot to say. Let's put Glenn Beck on, and Governor Christie. Governor Christie is really on the outs, and we were talking about it earlier on the Imus in the Morning show. The backstory there is that Ivanka Trump's husband, Jared Kushner, who runs the New York Observer and a trusted advisor of Mr. Trump,
not just a trusted advisor. Just today, Donald Trump has asked for clearance for his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to sit with him on the briefings which include the military stuff, the nuclear stuff. So you're talking about Donald putting his son-in-law in a very, very important seat. Very important seat.
And maybe justifiably, who knows? It's his inner circle. This guy was an advisor. And the bottom line, all these people that are around Donald Trump and stuck by him, General Flynn, Rudy Giuliani, and Jared Kushner, et cetera, whoever it was, they were right all the way. They ushered him into the presidency, essentially. Now he's the president-elect. So it's all valid. Who else? What? I mean, Valerie Jarrett.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
No. But going back to the story about the Chris Christie story is that, and I think a lot of us knew this already. It was out there, but now it's really being pounded out there. Is that Jared Kushner's father, the machotunum to Donald Trump? He was put away. He's in jail now, I think, for tax evasion. I think it's a 2-year sentence. And who helped put Jared Kushner's father in prison? Chris Christie.
He did not only helped. He was the chief prosecutor. He went
Right.
after him with a vengeance.
Right.
It was in 2005, and he did serve 2 years. But it was a tax evasion, witness tampering, and illegal campaign donations. But
Right.
but it's more than that. It was a family thing. Jared Kushner's father, Charles, he had a sister. His sister testified. Christie flipped Jared Kushner's father's sister against him, his father. And so as a result, the father's name is Charles. The father actually hired a prostitute to seduce his sister's husband,
Oh my God.
caught it all on videotape, and sent it to her as retaliation. I mean,
Sordid.
It was disgusting. And then also he had his brother Charles again is Jared's father. Jared's uncle Murray Kushner.
Yeah.
They had a major falling out also. And it says here in this real estate news thing, Charles, he also questioned Murray's family life, Charles, Jared's father, primarily because he had married a shiksa.
That's a non-Jew, folks out there. That's a non-Jew.
A Gentile.
Yes.
And that led to their falling out in business. They actually sued each other. So he used, Governor Christie used Murray and also the sister again.
Yeah.
So
he broke up the whole family.
So it was a blood feud.
But I got to ask you this, and I asked you this on Imus this morning. I understand that Chris Christie started to go sideways after the Billy Bush tape came out. He went on the FN morning show and he said, basically, I'm not supporting Trump through this one. This is a bad one.
I think it was ESPN.
ESPN, excuse me. But my question is, for the longest time, Bernard, for almost a year, Chris Christie and Donald Trump were close. Chris Christie was standing behind Donald Trump month after month before the Billy Bush thing came out. So my question is, if he's so close with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and he knew all along that Chris Christie put his son-in-law's father in prison, why did it take up to the Billy Bush tape for Donald Trump to get pissed off at Chris Christie?
Because he was trying to win. When you're trying to win, you do things.
Oh, yeah, but that's rough. He put his father in jail.
Well, look, apparently Jared was fine with it up until then. But when you go wobbly, you smell the defeat for Donald Trump, and you're like, okay, I'm going to cancel Sunday morning shows. I'm going to speak out and say I can't defend that. What the hell is going on? Unlike Giuliani and Gingrich and others who said it was terrible, so he went wobbly, and so screw him.
I don't know. I'm not if somebody put my dad in jail. I'm not, whether I want to win or not, I'm not hanging out with that guy for a year. I'm just not. But hey, listen, he won.
Well, listen, there's no doubt about the fact that the dad was guilty. He did.
So what?
He deserved what he got.
What?
He deserved it. And Jared admits as much, but he says, "Yo, that was my father."
Right.
So I mean, you can't blame the prosecutor necessarily for what your father did. What he was guilty of.
Wow.
You can't really blame
But you can
him.
still be pissed at the guy for putting him in jail.
Well, apparently now it's manifesting itself, that anger, because Christie is out. 1-800-848-9222.
That'd be like Victoria Gotti having, Morgenthau over the house for dinner one night. It's fine. So what? My father did this. He did that. You got it. Fine. No problem. Ain't gonna happen.
Listen. This is we're talking about the first family right here. This is going to be American royalty. The Jared, the Kushners, the Trumps. And you know who's coming up with us is Rabbi Shmuley.
Is he coming on?
He's in Israel. He will.
He's in Israel. He's going to give us a call. We had
Nice.
you had Alan Dershowitz out there saying Steve Bannon is no anti-Semite. Listen to me. You had Rabbi Shmuley wrote a letter to somebody. We'll tell you whose side he's on. He's coming up with us on Bernie and Sid. 1-800-848-9222. Back after this.
7 ABC.
Yeah, nice little Michael Jackson. That was pretty good.
Here we are back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. And without further ado, Sidney, the reason why we played this song, well, he has a connection to the performer. We have Rabbi Shmuley Boteic on the line. Well, the rabbi is calling in from Israel. Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. What do you mean connection? I taught him how to moonwalk.
You taught him a lot. And
Except the bad stuff, of course. The rabbi did not do that.
No, you tried.
I don't have bad stuff. I am clean as a...
No, you, but not Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was not clean. But you, yes, you are a... was Monster.
Baruch Hashem.
Yes, Baruch
Thank
Hashem
God.
to you, yeah. And where are you today?
Lashana Tova to all of y'all.
Are you in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or Haifa? Where are you today?
I arrived in Israel about 15 minutes ago because our son is an IDF combat soldier, and tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. he completes his intensive training on a mountain in the Golan Heights overlooking the Lebanese border, the Syrian border, where all these killers from Hezbollah that are funded by Iran with their hundreds of thousands of rockets. You know, he's one of the people responsible for trying to keep Israel safe. So we're proud of him, and we're here for his ceremony.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Godspeed with that. That's,
Nachas right there.
Can I say Godspeed? Is that works?
Go with that. It's Nachas.
Nachas. So,
Nachas.
You can say it. It's not blasphemy. You're not going to be have lightning come after you in the studio, and you'll be fine.
Well, listen, Rabbi Shmuley Boteic, of course, he's an author, former TV host. He's you're an all-around versatile guy. And anyway, the reason why we're having you on this morning, Rabbi, is that you wrote an open letter to some dude who, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, which, by the way, has been hijacked by the left. And you came out in defense of Donald Trump's new chief strategist, this guy Steve Bannon, who runs Breitbart, I should say. And you wrote this letter to the Anti-Defamation League. Tell us what you said.
Well, Bannon is being accused by the whole world of being an anti-Semite. Now that's pretty curious because I write for a lot of outlets, everyone from the Wall Street Journal and the Daily Beast and Huffington Post, Breitbart. Breitbart is one of the strongest defenders of Israel. They came out strongly against the Iran nuclear agreement that gives the murderous mullahs $150 billion by which to kill people around the world. They came out very strongly against the anti-Semitic boycott, divest, sanction movement, BDS, that seeks the economic destruction of the Jewish state. They came out very strong against the creation of a Palestinian state that would be run by Hamas. Bannon is the head of all this. So why are they calling him anti-Semitic? We bandy around these very libelous terms, and if someone deserves it, by all means, we ought to root out racism from our society. But to character assassinate someone because you don't like his views, so they don't like his views, so oppose him. That's the beauty of democracy. Vote against him, oppose him, demonstrate against him. But why say that he's a Jew hater? He's not. And I know a lot of people who work at Breitbart, a lot of Jewish people. I know Orthodox Jews who work there, and
Joel
Bannon
Pollack
always pushed them. Joel Pollack, who's a dear friend of mine, told me that Bannon has always given the observant Jews time off for the Sabbath, for the Jewish festivals, and at times it can be demanding. We just went through 4 weeks of Jewish festivals, and employers have to be understanding, and Bannon always was.
Well, let me ask you this, so just to play devil's advocate. I don't know Steve Bannon from a hole in the wall, okay, but it could be both. He could be running the operation, being kind to the Jews, giving them days off, saying all the right things, but supposedly, allegedly, when he was fighting with his wife many years ago, she says that he said to her, one of the reasons why he was mad at her was because she sent her daughters to school with a bunch of Jews. So if you hear that, then you're going to say, whoa, hold on a second. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, well, that's even the most anti-Bannon media have cited only that as proof.
And by the way, on that, Rabbi Shmuley, it wasn't that he didn't want to. He sent them with a bunch of Jews. He wanted them to go to Catholic school.
Okay, but he did say that, quote, I don't want our kids going to school with a bunch of Jews. That's what he said. So no reason to change the wording around.
That's what she alleges.
Okay, that's fine. She said that's what she said. He said.
Let's be fair. Listen, I'm a child of divorce, and I do a lot of marital counseling. And very often, in acrimonious divorces, things are alleged. And
True.
Is it true? I don't know. I don't know the veracity of the comment. I do know that it was a contentious divorce, and she said.
All right, well, let me ask this. My wife is also a divorce attorney, so I've gone through these things. I've heard these things, and they do get very, very vicious. And sometimes people say things that, quite frankly, are over the top. And again, I'm not taking sides here. But if, in fact, he said, quote, not I want my kids to go to Catholic school, but, quote, I don't want my daughters going to school with a bunch of Jews, is that not an anti-Semitic remark?
Yeah, but isn't the operative word in your question if? I mean,
well, yeah, of course.
You have a contentious. I'm not saying his ex-wife is a liar. I'm simply saying in contentious divorces, a lot of things are alleged, and things get pretty nasty and vicious. And if we found a pattern of Steve Bannon saying stuff like that, or even if we found one other example, then perhaps. But there isn't a single other example. You know, I remember since he started playing the music about Michael Jackson, I was Michael Jackson's rabbi. Michael may have been many things and may have made many, many mistakes in his life, but he was also accused of anti-Semitism when he famously, in his lyrics, he said, "Don't sue me, don't Jew me," you know, in the "They Don't Care About Us" song. And I was Michael's rabbi, and Michael came with me to meet Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, when Sharon was one of the most unpopular figures in the world, and Michael took pictures with him. And Michael visited Israel and prayed at the wall. And all the Jewish community is saying he's an anti-Semite. And here is Michael sitting with me, going with me to synagogue, studying Torah with me. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was.
I simply don't like when people are falsely accused. Listen, there are problems. There are problems with Breitbart, just as there are problems with the Huffington Post. I have contributed hundreds of articles to the Huffington Post. I consider Ariana Huffington a personal friend. There are vicious attacks against Israel in the Huffington Post, vicious. But nobody calls Ariana Huffington an anti-Semite. On the contrary, very close to the Jewish community, as is Steve Bannon. You know, in the Trump campaign, you've heard all these allegations of anti-Semitism. Trump's an anti-Semite and white supremacist. Listen, I hate white supremacists. I hate the Klan. They're despicable human beings. That goes without saying. But Trump has a Jewish son-in-law named Jared Kushner. He has a Jewish daughter named Ivanka Trump, who converted to Orthodox Judaism. I know them both. They have 3 Orthodox Jewish children. So, firstly, to attack Trump as an anti-Semite would have us believe that he despises his own daughter and grandchildren. I think it's highly implausible. So now that Trump was elected with a mandate of the people, they're no longer saying that. Remember, just a week ago, Trump was the anti-Semite. Now they're saying Bannon's the anti-Semite. No doubt they'll find all these other people. In the meantime, I was in Trump Tower yesterday. So many of the senior people in the Trump, certainly in the campaign and now in the transition, are not just Jews, but the strongest pro-Israel Jews, like Jason Greenblatt, who's been speaking up very strongly, pro-Israel, chief legal officer at the Trump Corporation, who's hugely respected in the Jewish community. He's been Donald Trump's lawyer, working right there alongside him for 20 years. Speak to these people if there's any anti-Semitism in this campaign. I'm not defending everything in the campaign. I'm not defending everything in the transition. And I'm not going to defend everything in the administration. I'm simply saying, let's stop with the Jew-hating allegations because they're bogus.
Right, exactly. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. One of the headlines they cite from Breitbart was about this anti-Trump guy, Bill Kristol. Bill Kristol, renegade Jew, and of course it was written by a pro-Israel Jewish guy named David Horowitz. That doesn't be attributed to David Horowitz when they report the article. But I do want to ask you this, Rabbi Shmuley. On the Democratic side, they're nominating one of the guys up for contention to head the Democratic National Committee is this Congressman Keith Ellison, who is a rabid anti-Israel guy and a Louis Farrakhan apologist, but you don't hear anything about that in the media.
Yeah, look, Keith Ellison, let's be clear, he's a Muslim Democrat. There's not only is there nothing wrong with being a Muslim Democrat, I think it's very laudable. Muslim Americans are just as American as everybody else, thank God, and American church is the Islamic community. But why Ellison has to be hostile to Israel is a different question altogether. I mean, he's a lawmaker in the world's greatest democracy. He should support and promote the dissemination of human rights and freedoms throughout the Middle East. The only democracy in the Middle East is the country I'm speaking to you from right now. It's called the State of Israel. The only place where Arabs have rights in the Middle East, full rights, is in Israel. Israel has 1.5 million Arab citizens. In fact, Israel practices reverse discrimination against its Jewish citizens by forcing them through conscription to go to the IDF, to go to the army, when the Arabs don't have to go to the army. And if anyone thinks that's not a big deal, look at the way Vietnam tore the country apart through forced conscription. So Israel's an amazing country, and Ellison should be supporting Israel. But can I go beyond Ellison to something else?
Sure.
What I wrote in this open letter to my friend Jonathan Greenblatt, who's the head of the ADL, was this. He came out attacking Bannon, and I also talked to him on the phone about it last night. I said, with all due respect, where were the attacks on Hillary Clinton for having America's foremost public anti-Semite, Max Blumenthal, as her trusted advisor on the Middle East and Israel? Max Blumenthal is Sidney Blumenthal's son. He wrote a book called Goliath. He calls Israel a Nazi state. He calls the IDF the SS. Do you know what it takes to call the Jewish state a Nazi state?
Oof.
You know the level of hatred, the level of bile that a man has to have. And we now know about all the interactions that Hillary Clinton had with him, because the State Department's release of the 33,000 emails contain all of these interactions where Hillary Clinton actually calls Max Blumenthal, quote, a mitzvah, a man who calls Israel a Nazi state, a mitzvah.
Where's the media?
I'm not going to say that Hillary Clinton is an anti-Semite. God forbid, she's not. Hillary Clinton has a Jewish son-in-law. She's very close to the Jewish community. I don't like guilt by association. By the way, Max Blumenthal's, Hillary Clinton's close Middle East advisor, celebrated the death of Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel was my dear friend and mentor. He actually was tweeting how happy he was that the world's most famous Holocaust survivor died, and what a horrible human being he was. So Blumenthal is a wretched human being. And he was very close to Hillary.
No, we know that.
By association.
Listen, 60 seconds to go. Again, Rabbi Shmuley joining us live from Jerusalem right now. We kept hearing throughout the whole Obama presidency that even though his relationship with Netanyahu was at best contentious, that Israel and the United States were still fine. Nothing could get in between the two countries. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But the fact that Netanyahu came out right away, Rabbi Shmuley, and gave a great testimonial to Donald Trump, what do you think that really means to the future of the relationship between the United States and Israel?
Look, there's been, for those of us in the pro-Israel community who work on defending Israel in the national media, it's been a very, very tough few years. President Obama has engendered a relationship of open hostility with Israel's prime minister. That doesn't mean that Obama didn't do a lot of good things for Israel. He did, but he certainly has had a contentious and hostile relationship with Netanyahu. And we've been on the defensive. The Iran deal, everything else. So to suddenly have a Trump administration that is so warm towards Israel, that is populated with such strong Israel stalwarts, is a breath of fresh air. Look, we hope that the president-elect will move the American embassy to Jerusalem. What the heck is the embassy, which is by now dilapidated on the Yarkon Street in Tel Aviv? Why isn't it in Israel's capital?
Really?
I mean, Israel doesn't have its embassy like in Kansas City. It's in Washington, D.C. You don't preach to another country where its capital is, and Israel is America's closest ally. So we look forward to a warm relationship. I think that the future is very bright.
Absolutely right. And finally, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, this is the final question. We're in agreement on everything pretty much. Prior to this conversation, right now that we're about to have, you wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal with Pam Anderson urging people to give up pornography. What the hell is that?
Come on, man. What's the matter with you?
Well, look, I got 9 kids to support, thank God. So since I moonlight, I'm a rabbi during the day. Since I moonlight as a jockey underwear model by night, we don't want a lot of competition. No, look, the idea is that this, I'm a marital counselor. There's a lot of husbands who are not making love to their wives. They're like on their computer screens looking at these pictures, and it's kind of weird, and it's becoming an addiction.
Hold on. Is it because the husband? Hold on. Is it because the husband's not making love to the wife, or is it because the wife is not making love to the husband? So he goes and does what he does.
Fine. We could say it's probably both. It takes two to tango, or here it takes two not to tango.
Right.
But let's face it. There are not a huge number of women consuming the vast quantity of porn the way the guys are. And the reason we wrote the piece was because of the Anthony Weiner tragedy. And I say the word tragedy. We could see Anthony Weiner as a comical figure. The guy came out of nowhere to hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign again through an investigation into sexting with a 15-year-old. I mean, who saw that coming?
Ugh.
But it's tragic because they have a little 4-year-old boy. They're now separated and they're getting divorced. Whatever you think of Anthony Weiner, who the heck wanted to see his life end up like this? And this porn addiction stuff, it's serious.
No, it is. I know it is.
Right.
No,
Listen,
it is serious. A lot of guys actually do even forego the opportunity to have sex with their wives because their wives are quote-unquote boring compared to the girls on screens. You're 100% right.
Responsible pornography viewing. That's what we advocate.
Right.
Listen, Rabbi Shmuley, you're great. We're out of time. Good luck with your son, and thank you for tolerating that last piece of our conversation and for the serious part of it also. Thank you, Rabbi Shmuley.
No, you're kidding. It's a great, important conversation. God bless you guys. Thank you.
You too. Take
care. Same to you, man. Godspeed. And Bernie and Sid back after this with Jay Leno.
77 W.
Queen. This is Bernard McGurk.
Bernard McGurk.
Sir Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Bernie and Sid.
77 WABC.
You can see Bill Clinton at the Democratic Convention where he introduced his new campaign slogan, I'm with her, and her, and her. You too, Donald.
Very funny.
And I tell you that Donald Trump, he is a smart businessman. When kids rang his bell and yelled trick or treat, Trump yelled trick, and before the kids could grab any candy, declared bankruptcy. Boom, just like that.
That's really funny. Jay Leno at his very best.
Always funny.
We're playing that, of course, because coming up live on this program in about 3 minutes, about to perform at the Wellmont Theater here in New Jersey, the great Jay Leno coming on with me and Bernard to start off your second hour of the program. So that's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. And briefly before we get to that, this morning Mr. Imus interviewed Bill O'Reilly and his co-author. They have a new children's book out. Yesterday, O'Reilly was on CBS this morning, and he was promoting the book, and they sort of ambushed him about Megyn Kelly's book, this, that, the other. He didn't take kindly to it. Take a listen to this.
No, it's a very tough book environment. We'll see if people respond to it. But I have not read it, but it's not a diss. I mean, it just came out, so I don't, I'll look at it.
She's not going to be on your show talking about it?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see if she's going to be on the show or not.
It's called the O'Reilly.
But I want to be very candid here. I'm not that interested in this.
No?
No, I mean, it's
sexual harassment? You're not interested in sexual harassment?
I'm not interested in basically litigating something that is finished that makes my network look bad. Okay? I'm not interested in making my network look bad at all. That doesn't interest me one bit.
Is that what she's doing?
I don't know.
You're not interested in sexual harassment? What's wrong with you?
Wow.
Like that? I mean,
I like Nora, though. I like Nora and still...
I like her as well. But
I like Bill, too.
Look, and it was Gail King, and it was the rest of them.
Charlie
but
Rose.
It was a total sandbag job. Now, listen, Mr. Imus, as I mentioned, interviewed Mr. O'Reilly and Patterson this morning.
And it was excellent, let me say that.
It really was top. As the I-Man does. That's how he do. He do great interviews. Anyway, listen to what he said to Bill O'Reilly about Megyn Kelly's book.
This doesn't require a comment from either one of you, but here's what's really great, is that Ainsley Earhart, who's a sweet girl, started out as an intern with my friend Hannity. Her book is number 3, Take Heart, My Child, A Mother's Dream, a note to her daughter, and has had zero promotion other than on the dopey Fox and Friends. And Megyn Kelly has been on everything with her hideous book, which is terrible. And it's only at number 5, and it'll quickly sink from there. So there's some justice in the world. I hate to be hateful, but
I don't have any beef. She runs her career, I run my career. But when a network is going to, as you absolutely accurately nailed it, trying to bait me to say bad things about my network, I am not going to do it.
Fair enough, Bill O'Reilly. And by the way, you were tremendous talking about the protesters, Bernard McGurk, on Bill O'Reilly last night. But with that said, we do have a very, very, very special guest on the line. Very excited to have this man about to perform Sunday, November the 20th at 8 p.m. at the historic and beautiful Wellmont Theater in Montclair, New Jersey. Say hello to the great Jay Leno. Jay, it's Bernie and Sid in New York. How are you, pal?
Young people, what's going on?
Not a whole hell of a lot. Jay Leno doing stand-up at the Wellmont Theater, as Sid just said, November 20th, Montclair, New Jersey. Jay, I have to ask you. I mean, listen, I was always a big Jay Leno fan. Hated what they did to you with Conan O'Brien. Glad you got the gig back, et cetera, et cetera. Now you're doing stand-up. You have the Jay Leno's Garage, but stand-up, you don't need the money. What Jay Leno just loves to get out there and make people laugh. Is that it?
I was a stand-up before I had the Tonight Show, and TV is always temporary. Sometimes it lasts 22 years, but it's still temporary. And, I was on the road 3 days a week when I was doing the Tonight Show, so now I'm just back on the road again. So
but some people hate that life. You love it, though.
No, it's fun. When you do something like the Tonight Show, you do different jokes in the same place every night. When you go on the road, you do the same jokes in a different place every night. But the difference is, a lot of times the frustrating thing about the Tonight Show is something would happen Monday afternoon, you do a joke on Monday night, and then Tuesday you go, I got a better gag. I can't do it. I can't elaborate. So the fun part is, you think of something on Monday, and then you try it Tuesday, and then you do it a different way Wednesday. And by the time Friday and Saturday comes, you've taken a one-liner and maybe turned it into a minute and a half or 2 minute story, And that's the part I really enjoy.
Jay Leno with Bernie and said, all right, here comes the most obligatory lame question. I'm sure you get it every single interview you do, Jay, but why should I be any different? So do you miss TV? Do you miss the daily grind?
No, I don't miss. I mean, I enjoyed it. I was lucky. I lived in an era when Clinton was horny and Bush was dumb. And it was what we call a simpler time. I'm sort of glad I wasn't in this one because,
really?
I mean, it's all about anti this and I hate this and this is like the ugliest campaign.
Well, listen, you're right. It was visceral. There was a lot of vitriol, but you'd have to admit, Jay, you would have a lot of material every single day.
Yeah, you do, but ultimately there's a negative effect. I mean, look at the whole country. The whole country's like bummed out, and like I did a segment on Jay Leno's Garage. It premiered last Wednesday, and I had Joe Biden racing Colin Powell in Corvette, and the two of them were trash talking each other and just having fun. And the Washington Post wrote a really nice story saying, "Thank you, Jay Leno." It said, "Just for having Republicans and Democrats talking to each other and having fun." And I used to love that era when Reagan and Tip O'Neill would scream at each other, and then they'd go out and they'd have a beer, and they'd sit and they'd argue out their point of view, and everybody sort of had respect for one another. This is it was a little too ugly, and you kind of fall into that trap that if you have a late night show, everybody winds up doing the same Trump joke every night,
Right.
That's kind of what happens because that's the only thing that's out there. So in some ways, I was glad I was not so much in it this year.
Understood. Now, but your mantra, to your credit, has always been go for the punchline, go for the laugh, put politics second. And
well, for me, being a comedian is like being a lawyer. It's not whether your client is guilty or innocent. You have to defend them. But people hear what they want to hear. I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I would do a Hillary joke and then a Trump joke, and then a Hillary joke and a Trump joke, because I knew I was in an area that was pretty, 50-50.
Yeah.
So I made fun of each candidate. I said I had like the same number of jokes on each one, So then I'm back. I go out the back door, and there are people there. I often do want an autograph or pictures. Oh, okay. And this lady says, "Can I have an autograph?" "Oh, sure." And she goes, "Well, I kind of a bone to pick with you. I noticed you didn't do any Hillary jokes, just the Clinton jokes." I go, No, I did Hillary jokes. She goes, "Well, I didn't hear them." And then the lady behind her goes, "No, you did a bunch of Hillary jokes." She goes, "I didn't." And you realize people just hear what they want to hear.
Oh, there's no doubt. Listen, look what we do, Jay. We take phone calls all day from people all over New York, and we'll say something about one of the candidates, and they'll twist it in 90 different directions. I will ask you this, though. Who do you think would have provided you with more material? Which campaign, Clinton or Trump?
Well, I mean, it's the evil of two lessers. Well, I think Trump probably gives you more material.
Yeah.
It's fair to say. It is not... But, Republicans have always been funnier than Democrats because the weird thing is they don't take themselves as seriously. Whenever I would have George Bush on the show, he would always say, "No, just have fun, Jay. You can make fun of me. Just do whatever you want." And I remember when I would have Al Gore on and stuff, I would run a bit by him, and they'd say, "Okay, that's fine." And then maybe 20 minutes later, someone would, "We ran it past our people, and we're really not comfortable. I said, well, we're not saying anything. Well, no, yeah, but we'd rather not. Okay. And it was always just sort of, everything went through committee, which is sort of interesting.
Speaking of Jay Leno on the Bernie and Sid show, he's going to be at the Wellmont Theater Sunday, November 20th, 8 p.m. out in Montclair, New Jersey. Jay Leno, to your point, Jimmy Fallon, I think he was he adhered to your mantra to go for the punchline and the laugh. And he had Trump on at one point, and he got slaughtered essentially for not spitting in Trump's face. And a lot of the other guys engaged in advocacy comedy. It seemed.
Here's my thing. Jimmy has never pretended to be a political pundit or comedian. If he had been hard on Hillary and easy on Trump, that would be one thing. But it's essentially a light entertainment softball show. I remember, years ago, I reading an article about actually someone sent it to me when I took over the Tonight Show. It was from 1967 or 68, and it said, when is Jack Parr coming back? And it said, Johnny Carson glossing over this and treating these things lightly. Parr always took seriously and spoke for a minute. Well, okay, but Johnny's ratings were 10 times what Parr was. And it's supposed to be a light entertainment show. That's what it is. No, I don't fault Jimmy. I mean,
not at all.
It's just a matter of as long as both sides are treated equally, I don't think anybody should go after him. I mean, like I said, if he had been nailing Hillary and easy on Trump, then obviously he's
right. If he was
Kimmel, I used to get that every week. When I would have a Republican on, well, I hope you and your Democratic friends are happy that you, and then when I have a Democrat on, well, you've shown your true roots with you. I mean, so you can't, as long as you piss off both sides equally, you're doing your job.
What do you think about this crop, Jay? Because when you were at the top of your game, it was a little vicious battle there between you and Letterman, obviously. And
yeah, actually, it really wasn't.
No, not in real life, but the media played it that way to make it more exciting. But I know it really wasn't. But you two guys were larger than life. What do you think about the crop now? This new crop?
I think everybody's really good. I think Seth Meyers is excellent. Colbert.
Really? No, you really think Seth Meyers is excellent? Honestly.
He's a really good joke writer.
Okay.
I mean, whether you agree with the politics, that's not the point.
He is an advocacy guy. That is true.
But what I'm saying is, he's a really good joke writer.
Yes.
And that's the only. How many lawyers do you hate that are really good at their job? You go, I hate that guy, but that's the guy I'd want defending me. So I mean, you realize Seth Meyers is doing this night after night, and something. The news doesn't change a whole lot from Monday to Friday, so you got to keep coming up with new jokes on basically the same subject. But whether you agree or disagree, I mean, he's really very clever, and he's an excellent political commentator. Whether you like the commentary or not, you cannot not admit that it's not funny.
Fair.
And listen, Jay Leno, when you come back and you surprise everybody, you stand in for Jimmy Fallon, you do stand up, which you did a couple of weeks ago. We've been playing the jokes all morning. You kill it, you slay it.
Oh, it's great.
It's fantastic. So in that, let me ask you this: who do you think is more angry that Hillary lost, Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton?
Oh, good question.
Well, now Bill's going to be home. So.
I know, right?
I did a joke. I think I did it on the show about one of my favorite ones was how Bill really didn't help Hillary on the campaign. At one point during the campaign swing, Bill stopped to kiss a baby, which is normally okay, except the kid was breastfeeding at the time.
that is not cool.
That's good.
That never happened.
That's good.
That's fine. Jay Leno, by the way, he's got Leno's Garage, this show. He's got his Big Dog Garage, which houses one of America's great collection of cars and motorcycles. The show is on CNBC, I believe, every week, Jay. I've watched it
Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, and I saw one. You actually did a rollover. I mean, you almost lost your life, for God's sakes.
Hey, but something that it's good for ratings, and that's important. That's the business we're in, fellas.
Anything for ratings, baby.
That's it.
So, yes, and Jay's going to be at the Wellmont Theater in Montclair, New Jersey. Now, Mr. Trump, he's going to be down at the White House. Is he going to paint his name all over it? He's going to gold plate the place like people have been saying? Or Do you think he's actually going to tamp it down a bit and be?
Well, I love the gold chairs they were sitting in 60 Minutes. Right? I thought they were in an Iranian palace.
Yeah, right. Like Saddam's palace or something. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. But, he'll probably tamp it down a little bit. But something tells me he's not going to spend a lot of time. It'll be mostly Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower and, maybe stop to take a whiz at the White House on his way from New York to Florida. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there you go. Take a whiz at the White. That's what we've come to now. We've come from the Gettysburg Address to stopping by to take a whiz.
Well, we had what's his name, Al Roker. He sharded his pants.
Yes, he
what
did.
Do you call it?
Yes, he sharded. That's right.
But so I mean,
I don't even know what that word means.
I don't either. I didn't even know it's the right word.
I thought shards were pieces of glass.
Well, it's close. Yeah. It's close.
But so anyway, he's providing these guys with a lot of material. Once they get over it, for example, Saturday Night Live, they couldn't bring themselves to do an opening this past Saturday. They were so upset.
McKinnon singing the Hillary Clinton, right, doing the Leonard Cohen song, right.
Some comedians were on the air crying, but they'll get over it and eventually get back to lampooning the president-elect of the United States, I would imagine.
But that's a great American tradition. I mean, that's what we do. That's what. I mean, just the fact that you have a peaceful transference of power. I mean, I give Obama kudos. Here's a guy you couldn't disagree with more, but he said, we're going to do this, and invited him to the White House. And I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, that's the difference between us and these crazy countries where you see the parliament punching each other in the face and all that. I mean, as entertaining as that might be, it's ultimately pretty destructive. And even Dave Chappelle the other night on Saturday Night Live said we should give Trump a chance.
Yeah, he was great. He did say that. He was great. So on the way out here, again, go see Jay Leno this Sunday night. He's great, 8 p.m. at the historic Wellmont Theater in Montclair, New Jersey. I don't want to give away, you don't want to give away your act right here, right now, Jay, but I would imagine, obviously, the Trump-Clinton stuff. What else is in Jay Leno's stand-up act coming up on Sunday night?
Well, I mean, obviously, pop culture is a huge thing. But most we'll talk politics. We'll talk a lot of obesity in America. We got tons of stuff. You never run out of material in this country.
A lot of fatties still. I guess
they're going to be there.
I shouldn't say it that way. A lot of overweight folks out there too.
In the audience Sunday night.
Well, listen, Jay Leno. I've always loved you. I don't know where Sid comes down.
Huge fan.
I wish there was a place for you at night. Any chance of you coming back?
Well, there is. I'll be in the Wilmot Theater. Well, you know what it is? You can't come back with the same thing. This is why I went and did a car show. I mean, I did the 10 show for 22 years, and that was a lot of fun. And when you're 40 years old and you're talking to the 26-year-old supermodel, it's sexy. When you're 66, you're the creepy old guy.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And at some point, because you can never come back with the same amount of. When I did the Tonight Show, everything was paid for. By that I mean, over the years, the 18-piece band and the studio, it was all paid for, so everything was gravy. When you come back again, you got to start all over. Like I felt they never gave Arsenio a real chance because the budget was slashed to the point where you had like a half a dozen musicians, 2 or 3 writers, and that was the only budget they gave him to do the show. And the guy worked his heart out, but you got to write 14 minutes every single day.
That's tough.
And it's tough. And when a show looks smaller than the show you left, it never quite gets a chance.
Well, you're not going to come back in all likelihood, but how rewarding is it to know, Jay, that when they write the books in 50 years, and maybe chapter 1 will be Johnny Carson, but I got news for you. Chapter 2, probably you. How rewarding is that?
Well, I guess it's fine. In 50 years, I won't really care.
Right.
You know something? In 50 years, nobody will know who you are. I mean, that's sort of the fun. You know what? I had a bunch of people over, and we watched the movie Lawrence of Arabia. And a kid who was 26 said, "That Peter O'Toole guy is pretty good. Has he ever done anything else?" And I go, "Yeah, he's a big star." He had never heard the name.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a porn star, but he had never heard the name.
O'Toole. That's funny.
On that up note, Jay, nobody will ever remember who the hell you are in 50 years.
And, hey, me, how about you guys?
Nice.
Oh, snap. Listen,
you think I'm screwed? You guys, oh, my God.
They won't remember us next week.
They're going to think it was a deli.
Jay Leno, Sunday night, November 20th at the Wellmont Theater, Montclair, New Jersey. We thank you and Godspeed, Jay.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Hopefully.
Very
Back
good
on
job.
Bernie and Sid after this.
And here's the thing. After the election, I was going around consoling people. I said, guys, look on the bright side. Look at this. I was telling everybody, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I was like, I am certain this is not the first time we've elected a racist, sexist, homophobic president. He ain't the first one. He's just the first confirmed one. You motherfuckers, all of y'all. All of y'all. You, all of y'all. How can you?
All right. That's enough of that. Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. To the point that we made, or that Jay Leno made during our conversation, the last half hour, that the rancor in this campaign cycle has been just awful. But also, to my point to him, his mantra has always been go for the punchline, go for the laugh. But these comedians, they put their politics before the joke.
A lot of them do, yeah.
And I think all of them have, except for Jimmy Fallon.
That was Wanda Sykes, I think, right?
That was Wanda Sykes,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Thank you for identifying her. I should have done so. Yes, she was up there, a racist, sexist. I mean, people came to see it to be funny.
Let me say this. I'm sick of it already. Again, I endorsed Hillary. We sat and fought. It was fun, but it got tough at times, and we did yell at times every day.
But we're different. We were doing a little different thing.
We
were supposed to be funny, that's true, but we also have to be talk radio. This
Right.
Is
So we
people
had
come
to
talk.
discuss it. But the point is, it's over now. So why Harry Reid or Wanda Sykes or Jimmy Fallon or any one of these people needs to continue the nonsense, whether it's Donald Trump or Steve Bannon. It's just enough already. It's these protesters.
Saturday Night Live. I mean,
SNL, right?
I mean, but Jimmy Fallon's not guilty of it.
No, he's a good guy.
You got
Jimmy's a good
Seth
guy.
Meyers, Colbert, and these guys.
They suck. I don't care what Jay Leno says. Seth Meyers sucks.
I know he's horrible. I think
he sucks.
I think Leno knows that. But how about Leno? I mean, he's got more money than the gross national product of some small countries.
Yeah, some big countries, by the way.
Yeah, and he's still out there. He just loves.
He does love it.
I mean,
there's no other explanation. He's loaded. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need to do it. And he's in Montclair, New Jersey.
He's not trying to get out of the house because we understand his wife travels with him.
And they have a great relationship for many, many years.
Not one of those deals, but it was interesting.
It's not Jim Norton who will tell you and has told us in studio that every time he goes to a new city to do a stand-up, every time, the first thing he does, checks into his hotel, grabs the white pages or yellow pages, and finds the local escort service.
Right,
every single time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, that's not Jay Leno.
That ain't Joe Leno?
No. But he did say he was glad he was not a part of the last campaign cycle.
Yeah.
Which you would think, because it all started off great. We were like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton.
The primaries were fine, but I think we knew early on with Donald and Hillary it was not great. It was getting ugly, very ugly, very quickly.
He did go out on a limb a little bit for an entertainment figure like Chappelle and said, give Trump a chance.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is probably a taboo thing to say in Hollywood these days. They don't want to give him a chance. But
Chappelle did say it.
Chappelle said it, and now Trump has said it. Leno has said it.
I said it.
You said it on day one.
I did.
But these guys, they're Hollywood. They're entertainment. It's.
How about the NBA? I mean, Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, pissed off. Stan Van Gundy, the coach of the Detroit Pistons, pissed off. Now the Milwaukee Bucks, Memphis Grizzlies, and Dallas Mavericks, of course, owned by Mark Cuban. They won't even stay in a Trump hotel. And LeBron, who's mad about everything these days. He's mad about Hillary Clinton, him and J.R. Smith. Now he's mad that Phil Jackson used the word posse, so Phil Jackson's a racist. LeBron's got to pipe down.
Posse is not you're not using it, making that a euphemism for the P word. He actually is mad about.
No, he did
Jackson
say posse.
using the word posse.
Right.
In regards to
his peeps.
LeBron James peeps, right?
Yeah, he wasn't talking about
like his homeboys.
His homeboys, right. I think it's a stretch to call Phil Jackson a racist, but that's what's going on. Nobody cares anymore. You can call Donald Trump an anti-Semite.
Everybody's offended. Take it easy.
Calm
Relax.
down. Right.
The snowflake nation, for God's sakes.
I'm out of here.
Right? You want move to Israel, right? I want to move to Ireland.
I'm not moving because
Get the hell out of here.
Not because Donald Trump won. I'm moving because I'm just sick of everybody.
Sick of these freaking
just everybody.
offended PC MFers.
Tattletales.
Tattletales are the worst.
I hate when my kids tell on each other. That's what these people are doing.
Gabe and Ava do that too all the time. But the kids, that's okay. When adults do it,
yep,
that's the worst. I did do it a couple times to Buddy, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I was approached by management for stuff. I'm like, nah, that was Bernie. It wasn't me.
How's your back feeling?
I'm just kidding. Why is that?
Because, I'm looking outside our door here.
Right.
And you know how I do it during the zero compression back brace spots? It was designed by a nurse who suffered from
Right.
Well, it really was. Actually.
No, I know. No,
and
it's true.
She's outside, apparently paying the salespeople a visit.
The nurse?
Yes.
The actual lady?
Her name is Rosalie. Do you mind if we bring her in for a second?
No. Let me tell you something. You look great in that brace. And I know a lot of people. I mean this. There's no reason. I don't endorse the product. I don't make any money. I know a lot of people because of your live reads that have bought the brace and love the brace.
No kidding. Well, that's good to hear.
Yes.
And it's no joke. It works. It's like in fact, we'll do the commercial with her. Rosalie, can you bring Rosalie in?
Let's get him in here.
She's a doll. She's from Brazil. And she's a sweetheart, a brilliant woman.
Come on, let's go.
And she wants to help people. Bring her in.
Rob Fulmer, who, of course, also on weekends is Jetman. He's a great kid, but
hello, Rosalie. Sit down. Have a seat.
Right.
She is the genius who came up with this zero compression back brace, which I said earlier in the earlier spot. It almost works like one of those high-priced luxury vehicle lumbar seats in the car.
Yes.
It has that effect on your back. It just relieves the pain. Somehow or other, she figured it out. She had horrible back pain herself. And she figured it out. Rosalie, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. It's nice to be here with all of you
it's
today.
It's a pleasure. You are the brains, the genius behind the zero compression back brace.
Oh, thank you. I don't think this way, but
I know she's very humble as well.
But it's a big deal because a lot of these things, and Bernard talks about it when he does his live read, which he's great at, by the way. And I know people that have bought the product because of Bernard's live reads. But the fact that it's not bulky, because some of these braces, you can't help but notice it. He wears it underneath a shirt like that, which is a tightly fit, tailored shirt. I don't even see the brace.
That's the nice thing about it because both of the braces are huge and they compress you. And I'm saying this brace, like nobody knows. I mean, I worked with this brace for a year and a half, and nobody knew I had the brace.
Right.
And people didn't know I had the back problem no more.
So when you first thought about this, you're like, I gotta get something that's gonna help my back, but I'm an attractive female. I want to make sure it doesn't ruin my outfit. That all came in the very beginning, right?
Well, I initially when I first do the inside part, and I say I have to bring something that is pretty for a woman because I want to feel like, when you have a back problem, you feel almost, it's like you're sick, you have like a handicap.
Right.
So I want to have the feeling that it was just another corset, another bra in your body, and make you feel feminine. And I feel, my husband asked me, why you put your umbrella in the brace. I say, because women think that way.
Right.
You men, you don't think that way. I know I made it very pretty for men, and that it looks attractive for men as well.
It does, yes.
I have to think about the man.
It's very sleek. When I wear it in the steam room at the gym.
Oh, that's all he wears.
The eyeballs are all over me. It's unbelievable. But seriously, Rosalie, you're from Brazil, first of all.
Yes,
and
I am.
You're a nurse here in the tri-state area. We won't say where, but you had horrible back pain yourself, and nothing worked. You went to doctors. And when you did invent this brace or come up with it, you brought it to some of these high-priced doctors, and they were amazed. They marveled at what you came up with yourself.
Yes, my own doctor, he just look at, because it's very simple concept. And when he saw it, he said, why I didn't make that, and he's a big doctor in New Jersey. And myself, I say, well, it helped me because the moment that I would take the brace out, the pain would start.
Came right back.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm about like 2 years without pain medication.
I was going to say, you tell me that the Oxycontins, the Percocet, that didn't work?
I have to say, I took Oxycontin, I took Fentanyl, I took...
Do you recommend taking all that even now with the brace?
Now
Only on Friday nights.
I had a Build-Train. It's like a patch.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, I was using this every hour. And today, 2 years free from pain medication.
What did you do to your back? I mean, you're athletic. So what did you do?
Initially, I had a sciatica. Went through a procedure to solve my sciatica problem. Ended up with 2 herniated discs.
Oh, my God.
Which I could not drive, sleeping, and do anything without pain. And that was, it was one of the worst things in my life.
So even a sciatica herniated disc as she said, or just like me, sitting at a bad chair all day long, or lugging around a cooler full of beer and ice all summer long. That hurts my back. This thing helps it out, the zero compression back brace. By the way, you get it at endobackpain.com. endobackpain.com. That's where you go to get it. But Rosalie, you came in with your husband last week. You two guys are the happiest guys. But you're a brilliant lady. That's the thing.
Oh, sweet of you.
It's so true. You were persistent with this. And this thing, you applied for a patent.
I did.
Right?
It's a patenting. It's international. It's all over. It's a design and also utility.
Well, you got to get it before these other companies start copying. I mean,
yeah, it's protected now. Once you patent it, it's protected.
Good.
You know.
Oh, it's right.
It's protected, international
and that's why you see on TV they advertise some similar. They're just stupid belts.
Yeah. They're not.
This
is
this thing. This has a lumbar kind of support thing. The zero compression back brace. But another. Who's that beautiful young lady behind you?
This is my daughter, Elizabeth.
Wow, nice. Elizabeth, your mom is something else, huh? I mean, she's an inventor. She's got a patent. Who knew?
She's about to become a multi-millionaire.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Your life's about to change in a big way, Liz.
She's going to own the hospital that she works in now.
They'll be working for you.
Yeah, you could be Donald Trump's Surgeon General. I recommend you as Donald Trump's Surgeon General in the new administration.
My gut tells me, and I don't know this for a fact, I could be wrong, I hate to put words in people's mouths, but you voted for Hillary.
No, I did not.
You voted for Trump?
Yes, I did.
Look at this.
You see, the shy Trump voter was out there. Even an Latino immigrant from Brazil. People don't realize
But your daughter voted for Hillary. No? The whole family voted for Trump.
Man, I love this family. Oh, fantastic.
You're not Jet fans also, are you? You like the Jets?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I have to say to you, if she had different values, I would have voted for her. You know, I'm not crazy for him, truly.
He's not perfect, but
he's not perfect, but he has a softest side there that I can see on him. That he some of the values that he had there, that's why I voted.
Hey, listen, I told you she was brilliant. Rosalie, who invented the zero compression back brace. You're just an unbelievable individual, an unbelievable American, is what I would say. Rosalie is, and I urge all you listeners out there, this zero compression back brace. It really works. If you have some back pain, you need some relief, go to endobackpain.com. It works for me. It can work for all of you. Rosalie, it's a pleasure to have you in here. Nice to meet you, and lovely to meet your daughter as well. And say hi to your husband. I met you last week.
Hi, Darius.
Darius, shout out to Darius.
Continued success, too. Continued success, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For have here and meet both of you, because I hear you on the radio now. It's like facing everything. Listen, and you're fun people.
You sound like a fun lady. Believe me when I tell you. Back on Bernie and Sid after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
In the Bronx, there is that accident on the Bruckner Expressway northbound at Westchester Avenue that has traffic stop and go from East